Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy.
Tits, boobs, Republicans. You can't use this now.
Oh my god, no, that is it. That is the beginning of the show. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 660. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing? Are y'all maintaining your sanity right now? Things are kind of crazy out there.
Earlier this week, it was a little rough.
It was. I was actually planning on doing...
It was always expected.
Actually, I know other things going on in my life, believe it or not. And, watching election stuff is actually not entertaining.
Well, I don't know if entertaining is the
entertaining
word
is not the word.
Yes, this is.
Well, it's also not very informative.
That's true. One thing this is kind of this whole situation. Obviously, if you followed me on Twitter, it's kind of dominated my life for the past 3 days, as it has many people, I'm sure. But I've never once let myself kind of fall into that 24-hour news cycle before when it comes to something like this. But I obviously can't help myself, and I'm amazed at how many times they can say the same thing without taking a breath between them, and just somehow fill 24 hours of live coverage.
That's the news, and that's why I don't fucking watch the news, because they just say bullshit to say bullshit, because yes, they need to take 5 minutes of content and stretch it out into half an hour.
That's great, y'all. Hey, I have a question. Did y'all wish Joel a happy 4th wedding anniversary?
I think Brad is referring to the fact that him and Joel got married on the same day, and his wedding anniversary just happened. So Joel,
and I'm podcasting.
Oh, it's today?
Getting a divorce.
Oh.
Wait, is today that day? I don't know. See, here's the thing. Robin and I's anniversary is in this month as well, so that's really what I associate with November more than anything. So, happy 4th wedding anniversary.
Fuck
Brad.
Joel.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't listen to this show. Fuck him. I'm just kidding.
He's probably not podcasting tonight.
Definitely not. Anyways, let's steer this. Let's right this ship, guys. We're kind of all over the place. It's been 2 weeks since our last podcast, because last week we actually got together and did a fun co-op stream.
Right the ship? You mean like Georgia right now, Nick? Huh?
Yeah, dude. Don't get me started on Georgia. Woo. Nolan, what's the count?
Oh, I don't know. Last time I saw it was around 25.
Man, I can't believe I derailed that so easily.
You did, dude. It is. I shit you not. You could derail this podcast so quickly 1,000 times if you just continue to do that, because I will not be able to focus. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. We last week, instead of doing a podcast, we got together and did a co-op stream of Phasmophobia, which
was that last week? That feels so long ago.
Dude, fucking Monday of this week feels so long ago. I feel like I haven't done a podcast in 5 weeks.
Sorry, Nick, the difference is 1900.
Damn. Thanks for the update. I'll be checking back in with you. We're going to treat this like the 24-hour news cycle here. I'm going to be turning it over to our correspondent, our political correspondent, Nolan, to give us updates on the count throughout the show. But anyways, yeah, so we did our Phasmophobia stream last week. It was a ton of fun. We talked about this a little bit. I'm actually really interested in playing more of that together, because that was really cool. So we'll talk about that a little bit later tonight. I know Nolan's been playing a little bit more of that with the community. But I also, before we get too far, I want to remind everybody, it's been kind of a weird month, especially here. I had company, and the election and everything has just been a huge distraction. But we're almost done. We have our first pass at our new Cyberpunk 2077 video. Each of us that participated is making a recommendation for a game to kind of get you in the mood to play Cyberpunk 2077. So we're going to be releasing that probably by the end of the weekend.
There are four really good recommendations in there, and then there's another recommendation.
And it's perfect. It's perfect because
they're all hidden gems except one. Crazy.
But it's also perfect timing too, because the video took a little bit longer than we originally planned, but Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed again since our last podcast. It's now coming out December 10th, right? I think. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, kind of thank God for that, because I was already starting to look at November and be like, what am I going to do? How is this going to work? So I'm actually quite thankful for the extra time for Cyberpunk. Is there anything else I'm forgetting that I wanted to mention before we get started? I don't think so. Where do we want to start tonight? We have quite a few games, new games to talk about. I'm going to talk about Watch Dogs Legion. Like I said, we're going to talk about Phasmophobia. We're going to talk about Little Hope, the new Dark Pictures anthology game.
How about this? These are all kind of like Halloween-y games. Okay, well, not all of them. Did everyone have a good Halloween? Anybody? Any standout movies in your Halloween watching season?
I ended up watching a really random movie that I'd already seen, but I hadn't seen it since it was in theaters.
Smallville? Episode of Smallville?
No, but I have watched 2.5 seasons of Supernatural since our last podcast.
Since our last podcast?
Yes. It's a perfect, like, de-stressor. It's like... But don't worry, Brad. I'm also playing video games. I played 9 hours of Watch Dogs. So, and I've done like 4 or 5 more runs of Hades. What do you want me to tell you? Why are you covering your mouth? Say something.
That was a joke. I'll just say it. So is a dildo, but you don't need it in your ass 24. And I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
Wow, that took a turn that I really wasn't expecting. But yeah, I mean, random movie that I watched for Halloween. Because Robin had never seen it, and I realized I hadn't seen it since it was in theaters. We watched The Village.
Ooh, okay.
M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how y'all feel about that movie.
Bryce Dallas Howard was dead the whole time?
Yep,
right?
That's the one.
Yep.
Every time I think back about that movie, I couldn't remember it was Bryce Dallas Howard, and in my mind, I kept picturing the chick from The Witch, but I was like, that wouldn't make sense. That movie came out.
She would have been like 12. If not younger.
So, that's an interesting movie. Definitely the weak link, I think, in M. Night Shyamalan's early pre. Is that we call that in his pre, like, becoming kind of bad era, right? You know what I mean?
Some people might argue that
that's kind of the start
over,
to some people.
Lady in the Water.
Dude, basically, well, yeah. The last scene in that movie was the start of his downfall.
The last scene in The Village?
Yeah, was the start of his downfall.
Yeah, I can see that. Lady in the Water is not good. What about y'all? Did y'all watch anything interesting? I had no trick-or-treaters, by the way. I don't know about y'all. I was fully prepared.
I live in an apartment complex. Nobody comes by.
Well, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I watch so much stuff. It's too much to get into, honestly.
I watched,
but I did recently watch after Halloween. Recently watched the movie His Room. It's on Netflix. I recommend it.
Whose room?
His
Room. Okay.
In the middle of the street.
No. No. What else? What else you got?
His house. His house. It's called His House.
Whose house?
His house.
Nolan, I'm gonna have to stop you there. Oh my god. By the way,
his home.
I finished. Oh my god. Somebody pick this podcast up and run with it before I lose my mind. I finished watching the Haunting of Bly Manor, and that is a incredible ending.
I didn't watch Bly Manor, but I did watch The Innocents, which is they're both based on the same.
The Turn of the Screw or whatever it's called.
The Innocents from 1961. One of the last movies I watched in October.
Were you watching that specifically because you didn't want to watch The Haunting of Bly Manor?
No, I watched it because it's considered one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
Okay, I had never. All right, cool.
Then I followed that up with Night of the Creeps, which is not considered one of the greatest horror movies of all time, but it is good, campy fun. It's the one with the slugs, or the leeches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one. Cool, man. You're all over the place when it comes to movies. But hey, that's interesting. Crispy's in chat. He says he watched Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay,
I could
good
not
thing he's not
finish
on the podcast because that's a bad thing to say.
All right. I mean, are we ready to talk about games yet? We have some. Help me out here, Brad.
We could.
Arizona, do we still have the lead?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes, very much so.
Okay.
Did we get an update from Arizona?
I don't think so. I think it's 46,000.
Last time I checked, it was 69,000. So it's that margin's shrinking a little bit. Fuck it. Let's just talk about politics for the entire show. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm really hoping that doesn't happen because
these updates are your transitions.
I'm exhausted. Nick. I'm exhausted. All right, let's talk about video games. Do we want to start with the horror game? The one horror game we really had to talk about?
Is there only one horror game?
Oh, I guess no. I guess there's two. You're right.
So which one? Just say the name of the game.
Little Hope.
Little Hope.
Little Hope. The Dark Pictures
Anthology. This is the second game in that anthology. From the creators of Until Dawn and Man of Medan comes Little Hope. Is there like a subtitle or is it just Little Hope?
It's Little Hope. That's it.
And that's the name of the place, I think. It's basically like Silent Hill or something.
It is the Dark Pictures Anthology.
Emphasis on dark.
Whoa, Dark Hope.
Yes, I do apologize if you're watching us live. You're watching my footage I recorded, which is incredibly dark.
Maybe we'll get to one of those daytime scenes.
No, that does not happen. There's no daytime scenes.
So Little Hope. Well, hopefully the Phasmophobia footage is not this dark. Did you figure that one out, Nolan?
Brad, there was nothing wrong with the Phasmophobia footage. Literally, the first round we played, we had shitty flashlights, so you couldn't see anything.
That's true. I didn't have a flashlight at all.
As soon as we got to the fucking second level and we unlocked stronger flashlights, the game looks fine. Also, the first place we went into was just a very dark building. And we also didn't understand how light switches work, so we never turned on any lights.
We'll
talk about that when we get to it, Brad.
But right now, we're talking about Little Hope.
So Little Hope, it is another one of those. They make those. Now they make these, but shorter. It's like Until Dawn, but not as good. Man of Medan was trash.
What?
This one, wow. This one is a little less trash. No, this one's better. It's still not like Until Dawn quality, but it's one of these Telltale style horror games. And
I wasn't really originally planning on playing much of this, but you asked me if I could record footage because you've already finished the game, right?
Yeah, I finished it. It takes about 4 hours to play through.
Yeah. So I started it last night, ended up playing for like an hour. And what's really, because I think Until Dawn is legit kind of like an amazing game.
Or a fluke maybe.
Well,
Since the studio has never made anything else that was any half decent.
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. Because here's the thing. Until Dawn obviously had a much bigger budget. It's a much longer game. It was a full price release. These are all like smaller releases, like 3 or 4 hours. Sure. You pay $30 for them.
These aren't that different than Until Dawn. They're just like half as long, right?
Right, but what is standing out to me? What's like so starkly different about these games, or maybe I'm just not remembering Until Dawn well enough, is like it's not the quality of the voice acting, because I think that's serviceable. It's fine. It's the dialogue itself is so awkward.
Nah, I think it was bad in Until Dawn though.
I don't remember it being.
I'm feeling like we're misremembering Until Dawn, and I think we were kind of swept up in the moment, in the season. And Until Dawn was a fine experience, but I don't think it was a great one.
Enough that maybe by the end of it, you kind of were riding on a high, and then maybe looking back, it's not like a perfect game.
Well, I think the story in that game unfolded in a really enjoyable way, and
then the Wendigo showed up. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think people, not only were people kind of swept up in it, but I think people were excited that this new studio, or not, they weren't a new studio. This studio's first game that wasn't supposed. People weren't excited about Until Dawn going into it. Nobody thought it was going to be very good. Then it came out and was surprisingly good, and that was sort of the narrative. And I think people kind of got swept up into that. I think the only one excited about Until Dawn going into Until Dawn was you, Nick. And you know what?
It was good.
It was good.
It was a really good.
And you know
experience.
what? This is okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I do think this is a noticeable improvement. Maybe that's just because I think the premise and the writing
is
a little bit stronger.
Is a little stronger. The writing, I don't know. I don't think the writing is great in Until Dawn. I think the biggest issues with Man of Medan and this game, they're the same. It's that their ambitious attempt to make these multiplayer games, specifically the online co-op mode where you play the same story with another person and you are playing from two different perspectives. And I think if you play it that way, it's fine, sort of. But if you play it not that way, it just seems like a bit of a mess. I don't think they know how to stitch the scenes, the moments, even within scenes together to make a coherent, flowing story. It's awkward and it's strange and it's confusing and it's kind of like, head slappingly like stupid sometimes.
I mean, it's awkward because there's several moments I've seen so far already where I was like, this needed an editor like really bad. Like there's one scene, I don't know if I got it in this footage, but actually I think it's right before you go into this bar. I know it's dark, but I'm standing in a bar in this footage.
Can you boost the game a little bit, even on the fly, Chris Davis?
It doesn't work like that. It's just
as a quick explanation. I calibrated this footage for my HDR monitor, so it's darker, but it looks better for me, but it didn't capture well, so I apologize. But the point is, right before you go into this bar, they have this argument about whether they should go, because you play these characters who all crash in this bus on the streets, and they're trying to find help.
No, Nick.
What?
It's awkward for a reason.
Well, it's not what I'm... No. I know what you're alluding to, but what I'm saying is, after the bus crashes, there's a scene where they have literally a 5 or 6 minute scene of dialogue where they're just arguing over whether they should go back to the bus or go into town.
Yeah.
And it's just going in circles. And it's like, why is this dialogue still happening? This could have been 2 lines of dialogue and moved on, but they spend these 5 characters argue about why they think it's a good idea to stay at the bus and why it's a good idea to go into town. And it's just repeating the same shit over and over again. Yeah, it's like I'm watching the 24-hour news cycle.
But it is supposed to be kind of weird and confusing, I feel like.
Yeah, well, for a very spoiler or a very story-specific reason, which is actually one of the coolest.
Wait, did you finish this?
No.
So you actually don't actually know.
No. But you play the beginning of this game, and you meet these characters, and then you meet them again in a different context, and that, without spoiling what that different context is kind of the intriguing thing that that made me go, I'm going to keep playing this for a little bit longer than I was
Did you
planning.
get to the witch trial stuff?
Not yet, but I got
to so that's the other big story through line in this game, is that they keep having these flashbacks to these witch trials.
I got to the first flashback.
And then they see themselves in these flashbacks. I mean, that's not too much of a spoiler. It's sort of the premise of the game, is that they're seeing themselves in these witch trial flashbacks, and they're trying to figure that out. They're trying to figure out the mystery. They're trying to figure out the horror, and it's just sort of a better. I mean, I don't know. I don't say it's better than Man of Medan, but it's not great because it has these same core issues: editing, flow, pacing. It's all kind of off, and it might not be off if you're playing with another person online.
I'll be honest.
I will say the opening scene is really cool.
Yeah.
If so the opening scene is like this family, and they kind of die horribly, and I mean, it's the opening scene of the game, right? But that's a spoiler. Okay, so later on in the game, there are monsters I can't fucking talk about this game. God, everything's a spoiler. This is a story-driven 4-hour narrative. It's kind of tight, There's not much to talk about. I'd say just play it, but I don't know if I completely recommend it, especially outside of October. Man, this is the kind of game I hate when developers release horror games on like October 31st because it's Halloween. No, you release them at the beginning of the month because that's when people are wanting to play spooky games. Because like the day after Halloween, it's like, you know what? Fuck horror.
Do you just flip that switch on November 1st?
You pretty much flip the switch.
I don't.
I mean, you do. Although maybe you don't, because on Saturday I'm going to the drive-in to watch The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog.
Ooh.
And there's going to be actual fog,
like
fog machine fog, which
That's
is like
cool.
super Halloweeny thing to do. But
spreading Corona around.
Where's the drive-in here?
There's several actually.
I've
never been to Blue Starlight?
No, I've never.
Oh, well, look it up.
There's Blue Starlight. All right. I'll check it out.
There's one in Round Rock. There's one downtown, and then there's one in the Mueller area. But
cool.
Yeah, I mean they're showing like new movies, so way to watch new
movies. This is like the third entry in this Dark Pictures anthology, right?
No, it's the second one.
The second one was
Man of Medan. It sucked.
I could have sworn we were like 3 or 4 in at this point.
Nope.
The question is, are we ever going to get to 3 or 4? Because I don't think anyone picked this up.
Yeah. Well, they did announce the third one at the end of this game.
Yeah. I almost feel bad for Namco because the Namco Bandai, because they're publishing this series, and I don't think it's been doing well at all. But it seemed like a pretty good idea and a good get after the success of Until Dawn. But
I kind of want to go back and play Until Dawn again because of how much I loved that game when I played it. And I don't remember it having these problems being so awkward. I mean, there's always awkwardness.
Okay, some of the awkwardness is in service of the story, which will make sense later. I promise.
In this game?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's trying to be a little... I can't really spoil it, obviously, but some of the stuff I thought early on was like, this is a little awkward, a little weird, but I think it's trying to be a little Silent Hilly,
Oh yeah, I mean,
like when you first meet that dude in the bar, right? That scene felt very Silent Hill because it was very strange, right? There's a reason for that. Might not be the same reasons as it is in Silent Hill, but get through it.
As someone who like really obviously loves Silent Hill, do you think I specifically should play this game?
I mean, dude, you already own it. You've already played an hour of it. It's 4 hours long. This is a nice game to play in a night or two. Just play it. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. I'm glad this type of game exists. I really am, and I'm glad it's only $30 because it seems like these days you either have indie games or these big giant fucking AAA things that launch in a mess. And it's nice that something like this exists. And I can't be in full support of this game because it does have some pretty serious issues, but there's some cool things the game does. You know what? I'm going to spoil it a little bit because fuck it. No one's going to play this fucking thing anyway.
I'm going to.
You were literally just about to never play it until I convinced you to play it. So
I'm going to play it. Don't spoil
it. It's all right. So you're kind of stalked by these monsters throughout the game. And they're kind of based on something that happened earlier in the game, and like certain decisions you've made that could have led to the death of the characters in the opening scene will actually kind of determine what kind of monster is stalking that person later, which is kind of cool. And I made a decision where a character in a first scene, a house was burning down. And I told her to run back in the house, which is stupid. I didn't mean to do that. I actually, it was a tense situation. I just picked the wrong thing. But I wanted her to climb down the balcony, right? She dies either way, right? Opening scene, they all die. It's the point. Well, she burned in the building, right? So I was stalked by like a burning like fucking monster. And if you climb down the balcony, she slips and hangs on her scarf. And if she dies that way, the monster that's stalking her is totally like a floating, like creepy not broken neck lady, but a monster that's inspired by the way she died earlier in the thing, which is kind of cool. I just was mad because the other monster seemed way cooler, and I didn't want to do the one I got anyways because it was an accident. But
you have to roll with it. You can't. It's not the kind of game you can kind of just like reload a save. Like it's just
yeah,
you kind of have to
well,
roll
you
with
can,
all your
but
accidents.
I mean, if you do that in this kind of game that's only 4 hours long, you're missing the point. Stupid.
Yeah, I mean, you're meant to kind of roll with your accidents, and that's kind of it. But like, I'm really into the premise so far. Like, it is very Silent Hill. It's that, and I'm really enjoying. It's like it's obviously delving into like these witches or witch trials or whatever that happen in this town, and it seems creepy. Like I'm effectively creeped out so far. I just wish some of the dialogue wasn't so. And I'm not even talking about the awkwardness and that comes into like the characters. I'm talking about like why did you have to spend 10 minutes talking about this? That could have been cut down and been far less weird.
This could have been an email.
It is the cutscene equivalent of an email. This should have been an email. That's very good, Chris Davis. All right. Is there anything else you want to say before we move on, Brett? Or
not really?
Okay. Well, I would like to talk about the other game that is pretty new. I've played about 8 or 9 hours so far of Watch Dogs Legion.
That's a lot for a game that I have no interest in. But
my question for you is: do you have no interest in it because you didn't like Watch Dogs 1? Did anybody here actually play Watch Dogs 2?
Yeah,
I've not played a second of Watch Dogs 1 or 2.
I streamed a crap ton of Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, I went back and played Watch Dogs 2 like a year and a half, 2 years after it released, and was like, wow, I actually like this a hell of a lot more.
Do you remember the very
Watch Dogs
first
1.
demo we've ever saw of Watch Dogs 1 at E3 at the Ubisoft press conference? Everyone was like, wow, this is probably the first actual next-gen game we're seeing
and
here.
It came out and it looked horrible, right? In comparison.
And everyone was like, this shit is crazy. I saw a demo and I was like, I'm never playing this shit. So literally the hypest anyone had ever been about Watch Dogs was in that first reveal, and I didn't give a shit. And that's the reason I'm not playing this.
well, now I feel like I don't feel like talking about it.
No, but Nolan loves Watch Dogs, and some of these weirdos in chat say good.
I really like Watch Dogs too.
You like the multiplayer, I know.
Yeah,
I think I was worried about
this game.
No, not yet. No, not that I can tell, but we'll see.
Okay.
So I'll spend about 8 or 9 hours.
Then I don't need to play the game. So
y'all killing
keep
me.
going. No, keep going, Nick. All right.
I want to know.
You played a decent chunk of it.
What are the numbers in?
I am
what
really
are the numbers in
about
Georgia, Nolan? Tell us.
Still 1902.
Damn it. Okay. So Watch Dogs Legion. It kind of takes. First of all, I completely forgot this game was coming out until it was like on my doorstep. Basically, I forgot this was an end of October release. So it was kind of a nice surprise. But takes place in London, and obviously their big kind of like the big difference between this game and the previous one was obviously you don't play a set protagonist. It kind of like randomly generates a character at the beginning, and then you build up. You're trying to build a resistance against this. The same kind of shift from the first two. Company Albion has kind of grown into like this really oppressive government that kind of keeps an eye on everybody, obviously. So you're trying to kind of, and it also is tied into like a fascist government, and you're trying to like build a resistance to throw over the other government and stuff, and take back the city from these terrible privacy invasions and shit. But kind of like the main mechanic that separates these two games, obviously, is that you can not only in the second one, in the first two, you can kind of like learn stuff about NPCs and use that to your advantage to like steal money from them and stuff, and you can use them as distractions in combat. But now you can actually recruit them, and you're building like an entire resistance group. And I'm actually playing. I didn't realize that you could do this, but I'm actually playing with permadeath turned on, which hasn't had too much of an impact on like. Because it talks about like this means if everyone in your team dies, then the game is over. But I don't feel like that has much impact when you can, as far as I can tell, I haven't hit a ceiling on how many people I can recruit yet. So I have like 20 something people on my team, and I think I've lost like 2 or 3 of them just by pure happenstance. I made a bad decision, and but what's neat about it, and I'm kind of torn on this whole thing because on one hand, I do like playing Ubisoft games to a certain degree for like the story they tell, and I was a little worried about not playing as a set protagonist if you're somehow going to feel more disconnected from the story. Strangely enough, I don't think that's really a problem because I think the story in the game is so focused on the larger implications or the larger conflict in the city, and trying to take it down, like the character you are specifically playing as is not necessarily as important. It's just about, can you build up
it's the mission and
it's the
everyone
mission
coming together to
Yeah.
exactly. So that doesn't seem to really hurt the experience much, and it's also kind of taking and expanding beyond. Like, I really liked the differences between Watch Dogs 1 and 2 was like the change in tone, because the first, everyone always bitched about the first one because it took itself way too seriously, and the second one was like a lot more fun and lighthearted and had a lot more humor in it and a lot more colorful, which I think worked to its advantage. And it kind of runs with that in this game as well. My problem is, and maybe this is just a byproduct of maybe the times we're living in, because it is about like trying to overthrow a fascist government now, which is some pretty heavy subject material, and like you're dealing with all these things that kind of feel strangely relevant in our society. And right now I was thinking to myself, like, man, I would love to play a game about overthrowing a fascist government. That sounds fucking awesome. But it's also so entrenched in like this dark humor that it almost feels kind of like maybe a little inappropriate. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's also just like it is a much more enjoyable experience at the same time, because I think they did that stuff great in the second game, and I think to a degree it works here too. But the cool thing, mechanically speaking, about you can literally recruit anybody you see in the city, and they all, when you like lock onto them, it pulls up like little information about the NPC, and it gives you like stats for that person. It tells you everything about them. It tells you like what they're currently doing. So like you could see some dude on the street like spray painting something on a wall, and if you like lock onto him at that exact moment, it says currently tagging the wall on this at this street at this intersection or whatever. You can also like look up their schedules and like say they're going to be doing this from this time to this time, and they kind of go about their own day, and they have like routines that they go through. But at the same time, you're also seeing like they have specific abilities that are unique to them, and it might be like they get discounts in stores that no other characters do, or they take less damage, or they do more damage to this specific kind of enemy, or they have a special weapon that you can only get through this character, which is neat. Like, so this character I'm playing as in this footage does a lot of it. Like he has a paintball gun and like a spray paint can. So like when I first ran up to do an attack, which was just like a normal contextual takedown, like I ran up to him and I fucking like hit him, and then I spray my spray paint in his eyes and like just like knock him to the ground, and then I kick him in the nuts. And like that was kind of unique to that character because that's specifically the special item that he carries. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Like there's if you recruit like a construction worker, they might be carrying around like a huge wrench or something, and that's what they use for takedowns. It's actually a pretty neat system. I haven't yet hit a point where I feel like it's getting like I'm running into kind of the same types of skills and abilities. I'm still finding lots of new stuff.
You haven't found the seams yet.
Found what?
The seams of the world.
No, not yet. Not really. It's a pretty big world, and I'm sure I'll get to a point where I'm starting to see, I'll start to see things repeating, like same kinds of characters with different abilities, or the same kinds of abilities.
You have like a solid snake sneaking suit.
Yeah, so you also spend point like as you earn points by tech points, and it's kind of like it's actually a little crackdowny. Like there are tech points that kind of scattered and hidden throughout the world, usually high up or in hard to reach places.
Hold on. There's a Ubisoft game with a bunch of collectibles. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
I thought they didn't do that anymore.
They're like praxis points.
There are like, I mean, yes, it is very Ubisoft. This is definitely a Ubisoft game. It's the big open world with lots of collectibles and things and like side missions and things to do. But the tech points, which is kind of where you get these different abilities are scattered throughout the world, and those you can assign one tech ability to each character in your thing. So in this case, I'm using this what you called it, like predator cloaking device type thing, which has a very short, and you can upgrade each one of those. Has like like 3 tiers that you can upgrade. You can put points into those to make them last longer, or have any varying effects.
But are you playing with permadeath on?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so I have multiple questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
All right.
Ask away.
What color is the menu?
So, you got permadeath going on. Is there like an Iron Man mode going on?
Define Iron Man mode.
So, in other words, like there's no save loading.
Oh, I mean, in the sense that if one of my characters dies, it doesn't ask me if I want to reload a save. It just that character dies.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Okay.
I haven't tried, to be honest. It hasn't prompted.
If you can't reload, that would make it Iron Man-y.
Well, I don't want you to quote me on this because I don't honestly know. But when the characters die, it immediately loads you into a different character.
Okay.
What?
Nick, when he said, "Is there an Iron Man mode?" Were you thinking of the Marvel character? Okay. I'm just saying this is kind of futury. You do fly around on drones. So.
He opened by asking about the permadeath mode, so I knew it was related to the permadeath situation.
All right. So another question. Your squad, you have like what, 20, 25 people now, you said?
Roughly. I haven't counted them, but I have like
What's your rhyme or reason to making your squad?
Collecting different people with different skills in my
is that your specific focus, like abilities, or are you going for certain character types, or
all
okay, ladies.
Well, I mean, I am trying to find ladies predominantly. Not a lot of here's the thing, like, so you have like every NPC can be recruited. Some of them have very minimal effects. And others have like sometimes you'll walk around and you'll see a character with like a little green dot over their head, and that's like a specialized character, and it's like they might have like 4 or 5 bonuses that you won't that are kind of makes them kind of rare, or they might have some kind of unique weapon that you haven't found before. So I tend to obviously gravitate towards those. But I mean the rhyme or reason for recruiting, I mean the story explanation is that you're trying to build up DedSec, right?
I mean, yeah.
But like it's very seamless, like walking around the city and just holding down L1 and like locking onto people, and it's kind of fun to kind of see what everybody can do, and it's just kind of like, ooh, that sounds cool. There's also like if you are infiltrating like I don't know, like a building or something, and there's enemies around, like the Albion people, you can recruit them too, but you have to when you lock onto them, it'll say they currently hate DedSec. So you can actually do things like little side missions to change their opinions of DedSec, which will then allow you to recruit them. And some of them have like exclusive weapons and abilities and stuff. So there's a lot of freedom. And that's all choosing a character, and then also you can approach all these missions in very different ways. I mean, you can do all the same stuff you can kind of do in other you can hack. It's one thing I really like. The world itself is it feels very like more so than the last 2 games. It feels like all this technology has kind of like become more seamless, and like all the cars in the game are electric. So you get into a car and it has that cool like they can't really hear an engine, and everything just feels really like, oh, this feels different. And I think it feels like it has like an impact on the way the cars control. Everything just feels a little futuristic. And then like there's drones that are constantly flying up and down all the streets in London, and they serve different purposes. Some of them are just surveillance drones. Some of them are riot drones, looking for keeping an eye on the populace and seeing if there's any protests going on or something, and they'll swoop in and they all have different, since they serve different purposes. You have to unlock the ability to hack and control those different kinds of drones. And then they have cargo drones, which are kind of cool, which are normally used to carry like giant pieces of cargo around the city, but you can you can unlock the ability to hack those, bring them down to your level, jump on top of them, and then you can like fly yourself all around the city. The only problem there is it kind of makes the finding it, like the crackdowny elements of like finding the tech points that are in the high locations, kind of trivial, because you can just jump on a cargo drone and just fly up and like look for them all and then just grab them. So it doesn't quite have that addiction level that Crackdown
or Genshin
orbs
Impact
have,
has.
or that, yeah. But it's still a cool feature, and I'm enjoying it.
Right.
yeah.
Another question I have. You said there were special NPCs that had green dots, so they gave them like bonus abilities and stuff. Are there narrative focused NPCs that you can recruit, like characters that are specific to the story?
I think there are several missions where you have to recruit a specific person.
And then you can play as that person after you've recruited them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Is there a reason you're driving on the wrong side of the road?
Yeah, dude, that's throwing me off real hardcore in this game. Like, I keep forgetting. I keep like gravitating towards the right side and like, oh shit. But yeah. And also, I don't know if you noticed, you're driving through these like checkpoints. You have to go through these like blue field, like light fields and stuff. So if you attract too much attention to yourself and then you're trying to escape somewhere, if the city's on alert and you drive through one of these checkpoints, it tells them where you are located.
Gotcha.
So also it'll bring more heat down on you. It's pretty cool, man. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I don't know if it's going to get to that point where I end up enjoying it more than Watch Dogs. I feel like Watch Dogs 2 is kind of like the perfect Watch Dogs game in terms of like balancing the tone and the mechanics and like the storytelling potential and all this. This seems a little little loosey goosey because of its hook. But it is definitely a really cool idea.
Nick, do you think this is top 10 material? Because I got to be honest with you, I already wrote your top 10 and this was not on it.
Hold on. Is this a pre-order character? Like getting to play as Tally? Is that a pre-order character?
No, that's just the way this dude looks. You can also change.
I thought that was a lady.
You can also change every character. I'll get to you, Brad.
Okay.
You can also change every character's clothes and so you can like make them all look unique, which is nice.
All
like
right.
I'm for the first time in Watch Dogs, I'm like stopping at every store and trying to buy as much stuff as possible so I can make all my characters look dope and unique.
Hey, sorry. Nick, completely unrelated to what I was just saying, do you like this better than Amnesia?
He's trying to figure out your top 10. Nick, is there multiplayer in this?
That's a good question.
You haven't been invaded?
I have not been invaded that I know of. Hold on, I'm gonna grab the box. Talk amongst yourself for a second.
Please let there be multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say to talk about this game just because I haven't played it. And similarly to Nick, I have not been kind of keeping up to speed. Okay. Interesting. 2 to 8.
I have not been invaded that I know of. Maybe I don't have it turned on. I just didn't notice.
Maybe you don't have it turned on. I do remember you turning it off for Watch Dogs 2. Yeah. There was an option to turn it off, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I think in 2 you get to a point where it's like, hey, you're now able to get invaded. You can turn it off if you want to.
There's got to be multiplayer in this.
Okay. Mr. Green Toast. Mr. Green Toast says it's going to be patched in next month. It hasn't. They haven't launched it yet.
God damn it!
That's not that long of a wait, Chris Davis. Not like you don't have a million other things to play.
Oh, but it's coming in like December, which is pretty fucking busy.
Let's be honest. Were you going to play this?
Yeah, we'll be way busy. Too busy.
My copy's in the other room.
Phoenix
I'm just waiting on the next gen consoles to arrive.
Well, I feel like this is also a game I considered waiting for my PS5 and playing it, but like it runs fine on PS4. I'm enjoying it quite a bit on PS4.
I'm sure it does.
PS4 Pro.
Yes, PS4 Pro. PS5 would probably, like, when you load into a new character, the loading is quite a wait. But after it loads in, also big annoyance. Maybe my biggest pet peeve about this fucking game. When you get in the cars and you're driving around, they have podcasts that you can listen to, and there's actually quite a few of them. And they're really good and they're really well done. But every time you if you change the station and then change it back, it restarts. Or if you get out of the car and then get back in, it restarts.
That sucks.
So I think they need to patch that. It's really annoying, but like that's some of the like it's legitimately like interesting to listen to. But
I
like,
mean, how
I get
do
out of
you
the
handle that? Because you can't do it like God of War, where like the head is continuing the
not?
story because you're listening to it live. I mean, you're
Who said why is it? Maybe it's on your phone, and every time you get in the car, your phone's Bluetooth connects to the car,
so
and
it's
it
like
just keeps
maybe
playing.
these are
Yeah,
your podcasts, or are they on like a
yeah.
radio show?
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
Brad,
probably
the
it's a
way they make
video
it,
game. It can be whatever you want it to be. It's not real.
the game makes it seem like it's a radio station, but
It doesn't make
whatever.
sense. You know what the best would be is if when you get out of the car, you have to like fumble with your phone and turn off the podcast yourself. It's got to
Yeah.
be. It should be
Just like in
realistic
real
that.
life.
Yeah.
I was kind of interested here, Nick, because earlier in the footage I saw you here, and you like take control of this drone, and then when you come back, there's like a fucking bus on the sidewalk next to your car. How the fuck did
Yeah,
that
'cause
happen?
I realized because I parked on the right side of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it actually, I got out of the car, I hacked the drone, and then all of a sudden it yanked me out of the drone, and I felt I could hear honking and people yelling at me because I was standing in the middle of the street because I parked
Nice.
on the wrong side of the road. Because fuck me,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not used to it. It's London, man. Forgive me.
It's ye old London town.
Oh no.
But you know what? It has a lot of freedom. What, Brad? Please tell me that. Don't say oh no right now.
Oh no, not that.
Oh,
God damn it, Brad.
Brad's not paying
Oh
attention.
no,
to
as
that.
in we lost Georgia. No. Just kidding. No, I what?
no, nothing.
Another
Any
fun.
other questions? But I mean, I'm really enjoying.
I mean,
Watch Dogs
I
Legion.
have more questions.
This-
Is it possible for a recruit to leave DedSec like willingly?
I think you can kick them out, but I haven't seen anybody leave on their own volition yet.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if, like, based on what you're doing in the game, how you're progressing, like, what if a character decides that fuck you, DedSec really was bad all the time, and just leaves?
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that it's not that deep. I think this is a really cool idea. I think it's also probably not nearly as fleshed out as I think. If they could have taken this idea out, extrapolated it further, I think this would have been a real game changer. I think it's just kind of novel and cool in this game, but I don't think they take it quite that far. And maybe that's just because it's maybe that's the kind of thing that would be hard to pull off this generation, and maybe that's the kind of thing that would be easier later. I don't know, but
Okay.
Another question regarding like recruits and stuff. Like, can you like run like where do your recruits go when you're not playing as them? Can you like encounter your recruits in the world? Like,
you can
walking around.
You can. You'll actually see a little icon over their head, and like they go about their own routines. And the weird thing is, they have kind of like a default clothing setting, and when you're not playing as them, they go back to that setting. So sometimes I'm like, who the fuck is that? And then I realize, oh, that's that person, just not wearing the clothes that I bought them, but they're walking around, they're just walking down the street.
And when you see them, you give them a nod and a tip of the hat.
I wish you could, but just
Are there any like cooldowns on your characters? Like, I'm thinking
Yes.
like State of Decay, to where you use a character for so long and then the stamina will eventually run out on
No, nothing like that.
them. Okay,
But
so you could potentially play as a single character for the entire game.
Man, you guys got to read a Game Informer article or something. This is like 100 questions over here.
Well, heaven
Hey, that's
forbid
what
we
I'm
ask them and answer them.
That's what I'm here for. Sorry, Brad. We can move on. But
No,
you know
no,
what?
no,
I think
it's not that. It's more of just the. It sounds like you're the director of the game and they're interviewing you. You know.
I did make this game.
Yeah, Brad's right. We
But
shouldn't ask questions about games on this
No,
podcast.
you should.
Yeah.
You should. It's very informational, is all. But you're enjoying this, and it is better
I
than
am.
Amnesia.
Fuck. Shut up. I'm asking myself these exact same questions already, Brad. I don't need you asking them of me now.
You don't have to answer them until December 31st. You're okay until then.
Oh yeah, that email. Was I supposed to reply to that?
I mean, I would like confirmation that y'all are participating.
Okay. Yeah.
Where are we going from here? Let's move on. Watch Dogs Legion. It's pretty all right.
I mean, we could talk about other dogs.
Let's do it. Talk about your.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about your Halloween game, Nolan.
Halloween game.
Your spooky, scary dog game, right?
It's not spooky nor scary.
That's the
it
joke.
just has dogs, and I guess maybe permadeath, but you can turn that off.
Which
and that
did,
was the first thing I did when I booted up the game, was go in to turn off dog death. So the game is the Red Lantern.
Is that what they call it in the menu?
I think it's like dogs can die or something, and it's like a yes or no thing. I can't remember. I turned it off the first time I booted up the game, and I never touched it again. But yeah, the Red Lantern. It's a game about you. I don't remember if you ever find out her name, but you're a very nice lady who kind of wants to get away from it all, get away from the city life, and so she decides to recruit a bunch of dogs to create a sled team and go up to Alaska. Thank you, Bernadette. The toggle's called Dogs Always Live.
Firewatch-esque.
I love how it's phrased so that they don't put the word dogs and die in the same sentence.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, Brad, in that regard, kind of Firewatch-esque. You're out there by yourself. But not. It's procedurally generated, so every time you play it, kind of different things happen, and it is a survival game. So if you noticed early, I had limited resources. I think you might see every once in a while the top left will pop up. You start the game with like 3 bullets and 2 food and like a limited number of birch wood to start a fire. What's up, Nick?
This reminds me of The Long Dark, but with dogs. I love The Long Dark. I didn't know this was a survival game. I want to play this already.
And so the kind of thing that makes it a little more unique, or I'd say more unique, is when you lose in this, or when you die, it was all a dream. And you kind of wake up and you have more information now. It's like, oh, if I were to do that, I should actually do this now. And so you'll kind of learn new things as you go, which is what kind of I guess adds to the game overall. So, and that was kind of one of the things when the first time we played it, Bernadette was kind of upset because we died fairly early. But I mean, that's kind of also the point of this game. Like,
you died.
I don't, yeah. Either you or the dogs can run out of food. That's kind of a end of run scenario. If either of y'all run out of food, and you can see on the top right, those are those meters. That's the dog's like hunger or stamina. I don't remember what they called it, and that's yours. And if either one of those run out, the run is over. But as you go, you kind of start to learn. Finn picked up a scent, and so it's like, well, I can follow this scent, or I can choose not to. Anytime you venture off the trail, you lose 1 like energy meter. Interacting with any event causes you to lose an energy meter, and then every time you go X distance in the game, the dogs lose 1 energy. And so it's this constant kind of battle of, well, I only have this much food. I need to give the dogs some food so they can take me further, but if I don't have enough energy, I can't explore to find more food. And so it's this constant juggling of trying to decide. And when you interact with things, it's like, oh, you've seen a couple of random events so far that have popped up. Like, oh, I've seen an elk, or, oh, one of the dogs smelled something or something like that. Or, oh, we heard a noise. Should I investigate it? And it's kind of one of those things where the first time you play, you don't really know, but the more you play, you start to learn certain kind of cues. Like, oh, well, I saw a rabbit. Maybe let's not go chase after that rabbit because I have a few food left. And that rabbit's not going to give me a lot of food, and I want to save my energy for maybe interacting with an elk or something. And in this case,
quick,
what's up?
Are you do you spend like most of your time on the sled, or do you ever can you get off the sled and kind of roam freely, or is it only when you? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so this game is all about
Oregon Trail, kind of.
Yes, Oregon Trail is a very good description of it. You start at point A, you're trying to get to point B. 90% of the time, or maybe not 90, like 70% of the time you're with the dogs running. Every once in a while you will stop to interact with something or to set up camp for the night. And so when the game starts, you don't have any dogs. That's kind of the first bit of the game. I don't have footage of it, but you are going around and finding dogs that
In the
all are
wild?
unique. No, you're kind of recruiting them. So you've heard about some people in this area who have dogs that are potentially good for a sled team, and so you're going and seeing them. Like, oh, this one is named Igloo, and they're very excitable, and blah blah blah. Do you want to recruit this dog? And you kind of have like a yes or no option, and you can kind of make that decision. One of the first ones we encountered was I can't remember his name now. Start with an S. I mean, he's right there because we ended up picking him up. And I think I interacted, like every time you camp, you can choose to interact with the dogs. So I have Noodle, and I have Iggy, and I have Finn. And your dog, you always have your dog. I forget the name of now. It starts with a C. Champ, I think. Yeah, Slayer. Bernadette brought up. Slayer was like one of the first ones we interacted with. And Slayer, like, oh, sounds like such a mean dog. But Slayer is like terrified of elk. And so anytime you get near elk and you want to like shoot them, like Slayer gets scared and wants to run away. And so each of the dogs has their own kind of personality. And I've only seen these 4 besides mine. Chomper, thank you, Bernadette. Chomper is your dog. But there's other ones I never got to see because I didn't end up either recruiting them, or I just had recruited X number and I didn't need to recruit anymore. So that's another unique thing about this game is depending on what dogs you build your sled team out of, that changes how you interact with the world. So like Iggy is like very protective, and so if anything like attacks you, Iggy will always like attack that thing back. And so if I didn't have Iggy with me, like I might take damage every time I interact with something. And it's a scenario where you can take 1 damage, and if you take a second one, you die. So you need to have a medical kit with you to be able to heal your wounds. But if one of your dogs gets wounded somehow, either you can heal it with a medical kit, and if you don't have one, your sled team just has way less energy that you can use. And you saw kind of in the footage earlier, I chose to feed the dog some food, and I ate some food myself. I think you eating food goes a little bit farther, but you have to have fire. Like the dogs can eat kind of like the raw food, whereas you have to be able to cook the food. So if you don't have any birch like scraps to cook food, you can't eat any. But some of the unique things kind of start happening as you explore the world. Like, oh, I found like a trap. And so every time I camp, I can set up that trap before I go to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I'll probably have found some food. Like, you catch something in the trap, or, oh, I found like an axe along the way. I can use that axe to collect more like birch wood or whatever and stuff like that. Like I said, there's just a bunch of different kind of unique scenarios. Like Brad had said, Oregon Trail asked, like, oh, you come across the river, do you ford the river and stuff like that? I did finish this game, but it's a scenario where you have a journal and you kind of enter everything in the journal, and I can see that I've maybe discovered maybe a third, maybe close to a half of what this game has to offer in terms of kind of unique things. Like one of the things that's happened on the mini runs I did was I encountered like fishing holes, but I don't have like a fishing pole or anything, and so I don't know how to fish, and so there's no way I could do that. There's times where I've encountered bears. I think one of the times I had like I didn't, you have to like, oh, I have to make sure I keep bullets on me in case something attacks me. Like you can be attacked by like ox and stuff like that. Like random stuff happens in the wild.
Is there like a story? Because I know we had mentioned Firewatch briefly at the beginning. Is there like another? Is there kind of like a story that drives you through it, or is it mostly just kind of exploration and survival?
Yes and no. There is a very light story. It is nowhere near as in depth as Firewatch. Like Firewatch, I would describe as a story-driven game, whereas in this, I would describe as a like mechanic systems-driven game that has a little bit of a story to the side. Whereas, like I said, you have a relationship with your dog Chomper. That you are kind of trying to do this for yourself, and you're kind of trying to prove to yourself that you can do this, and you can go off on your own, and you kind of accomplish this task.
It seems pretty much character focused more than story focused, whereas you build relationships with your dogs.
Yeah, I love when this happens. Just
Oh,
fucking
jeez.
shoot it right in the fucking face.
oh my God, Nolan.
Yeah. Um,
I'm
but
waiting for you to pull the
Take the
trigger.
shot. Take the shot.
Look
Oh, I
how
do.
Ned, it's coming right for us.
Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
get like 4 meat from it. And you can like if you play this game and you interact with a ghost moose, never shoot it because it will always attack you. There's lots of things you kind of learn as you play the game. Like
There's
you know
ghost
certain
mooses?
Yeah, what is
it's
a
like
ghost moose?
it's not really a ghost moose. It's this one unique encounter where like it's like very foggy and like it looks like kind of like a ghost. But the problem is there's just certain encounters where no matter how accurate you are with your shooting, you probably can't kill the thing.
Yeah.
And you definitely need more than one bullet. Um, but like I said, it's one of those things where it is procedurally generated. So you will have you've kind of noticed that every once in a while I'll come up to a fork in the road and I can tell the dogs to either go left or right. And depending on which direction you go, you're going to encounter something different. And so it's yeah, ha and gi, yeah, gi, g, ha and g, yeah, g. It's one of those things where that's I guess uh, um, a musher. I don't know what you would call yourself. A dog sled team, you know,
Yeah.
phrase that they can teach the dogs, just because I think it's easy to hear when they're all like running and stuff like that. And you just shout it out, and that kind of tells the dogs which direction to go.
This may be a dumb question. Did we say the name of this game at the beginning?
Yeah, I said it once, but it's the
Okay.
Red Lantern. Is the name of it. And the reason it's called that is because you are on your way to a cabin, which you can't miss because it has a red lantern in front of it.
Oh.
That is what you're trying to get. But you'll notice right there, if you're watching the footage, is one of the things that just happened was it said, you know, I encountered a river, and you wrote it down in your journal. And so that's what I was saying. Kind of certain things you'll see throughout the game as you're playing it. You'll write down in the journal, and when you do a new run, you'll have that more information. Like I think one of the first times, like I said, you are going to die or lose a run without a shadow of doubt. One of the reasons is the game just does not start you with that much food or bullets. And one of the first things you learn is I need more food and bullets. Unfortunately, you cannot bring like infinite. You only have so much you can bring.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, but
Oh,
then
he's hurt.
Iggy gets hurt, and you have to put him in
Poor
the
thing.
sled. But you'll notice that my dog meter is now only 4 units. That's the largest it can go. So even if I feed them a bunch of food, it can't go that high until I heal Iggy with a medical kit. So thankfully I have one, so I'm able to. But anyway, so like I said, you'll learn things like that. Eventually, I don't know really how it works. I don't know the mechanics of it. But like you'll find. At one point I found flint, so I'm able to start fires without having to use birch like stuff. You know, like I said, I found an axe that allows me to, you know, whatever. So you'll find unique things in the world that'll like kind of be persistent throughout your runs. That make things a little bit easier.
You can actually use a tampon to help start a fire.
I'm sure you could.
Really?
I
But
learned
yeah,
that from
I
Bear
don't
Grylls.
know.
Is this game not on Steam, or is it?
I got it on the Epic Game Store. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
know
think
if
it's
it's on
on Steam yet.
Steam right now. Maybe it will eventually. I think it's one of the situations where Epic got an exclusive to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
This game
is
looks cool.
you know, it's fun. I played it with my dogs. Butters was very interested when we were going around recruiting all the dogs at the beginning. Kato didn't care.
So,
He was just sleeping.
It was
Are those
Kato's
dogs
birthday, though.
always-
He's allowed to sleep.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
What's
I
up?
saw Kato. Robin showed me Kato's birthday post online.
Yep.
I didn't realize. It's nice. So are the dogs always the same, or are they
No,
randomly?
and that's what I was saying. So, there is a set of dogs. I don't know how many there are. I want to say like maybe 9. And you can see here I only have like 4 of them. And at any point in time, I think you can kind of go back to the beginning and recruit a new set of dogs that kind of change how the game plays because they all have their unique abilities and personalities.
Bless you.
Excuse me. I'm trying, like I said, Iggy is very protective. Finn is always kind of curious and wants to run off and find things. I think oh, there was another one. that was very good at like kind of finding like stuff in the world that was helpful. So I mean, and like I said, I've only kind of played with this set of dogs. I have not gone back and reset and selected new ones yet.
Gotcha.
But I probably will at some point. Yeah.
Cool. Well, this looks nice. I'm
It
gonna pick this up.
does.
It's a delightful little game. It has really good music. It's definitely fun.
I am fond of this like art style too. This is like slightly stylized, yeah. Especially in like this kind of environment. It's kind of the same reason why I really got into the Long Dark, because I really enjoyed the atmosphere they created with their art style. So
it does a really good job of animating and showing the motions of the dogs. I do like that.
Yeah.
The pups are adorable. So yeah.
Cool.
How much is this? It's like $20.
I was actually just gonna look that up.
I want to say it's like 20, but then like it was on sale on Epic, and then I had that $10 coupons. I want to say I got the game for like $9 or $10 with like the coupons and stuff.
For shits and giggles, I'm pulling up the Epic Game Store right now just so I can kind of get a feel for the price.
Yeah, I want to say it's maybe like 25, and then it was like because it was a new release, it was like $5 off or something, and then we had that $10 Epic. But yeah, so Noodle, thank you. There you go, Noodle. And you saw right there was a little purple option that Noodle heard something, and we were able to go and kind of investigate it.
It is $24.99.
There you go.
Okay.
But it's cool. All right. Why don't we take a break? We have one. We'll talk about Phasmophobia when we get back, and then we'll answer some questions. How does that sound? And then we'll turn it over to our political correspondent for our latest update on the presidential election as well when we get back. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Brad, that was a very good list that you came up with during the break. I don't think it's going to be wholly accurate, though.
I'm right about.
And you're
Final
also
Fantasy 7, though.
You're also cheating. You're also cheating by this bullshit. Like, I'm not putting these in any particular order.
Well, the first one is going to be your number one, but that's because that was on your other list. But you know, the only other issue is Cyberpunk's coming out late. But you're probably going to play a lot of Cyberpunk when that comes out.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or Ghost of Tsushima. Did you finish that, right?
I did.
Yeah, it's gonna be on your list. Okay. No, I'm pretty confident over here.
What's wrong? Is there anything wrong with putting that on my list?
No, of course. I mean, well, Act 2, but Act 1 and 3 were good, right?
Act 2 was good.
I think Act 2 was good. I think Act 3 is kind of Act 3 was kind of where I was starting to like, okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you like Amnesia? Off topic.
Yeah.
You finished it, right?
Yes.
And it was really good. You said you liked it more than Lost in Vivo.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're literally comparing like an indie horror game made by like one person to. I mean, sorry. I don't mean for that to sound like. I'm not trying to like patronize the game.
One dude made Phasmophobia, I think.
I know.
Well, wait.
That shows a little bit.
Brad, you completely forgot about a game.
What?
Visage.
I haven't played Visage yet.
He hasn't played it yet.
But
he hasn't played Cyberpunk either.
I fully intend to play Visage.
Let's be real here.
Or Assassin's Creed Vikings.
But let's be real here. Look, I'm predicting the future, not telling him what he likes now.
All right, fair enough. But hey, I am specifically making sure I play Visage because that is the kind of game I can see myself getting really. Oh, well, first of all, guys, I'm terrified of playing that fucking game. I'm terrified of it.
I think it'll be scary. I don't think it'll be one of your 10 favorite games of the year.
Keep talking for a second.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No one cares. Look, we're wearing headphones.
I'm sure a lot of our community is.
I know. Of course they are. But
and
if
the
it's not that loud in my headphones, it's not going to be that loud in their headphones.
I'm not worried about your headphones.
The current difference in Georgia is 1775.
Nice.
If only he was off by 1.
What?
1776.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The year our
Gotcha.
country.
Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Constitution.
I follow you now.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry, Brad. I'm not concerned about your headphones. I'm literally concerned because the cat's in the room with me, yelling, and it's louder to me than it is to all of y'all. I can assure you, it's very very distracting when you're in the room. And she was just sitting over there for no reason, just yelling into the sky. So something had to be done. But anyways, Visage, definitely playing that game because I do feel like that's the kind of horror game that I'm gonna get that I could really see myself liking enough to put on my top 10. But Amnesia Rebirth is great if you liked Amnesia. I don't know why you wouldn't. I thought you really liked Amnesia.
Damn, number 11, huh?
What
about Phasmophobia? That's early access. That doesn't count, right? I brought up Phasmophobia twice now in an effort to transition to us talking about Phasmophobia.
Well, let's talk about Phasmophobia. Is Phasmophobia technically early access though? When I looked at it, it didn't say. I don't think it said early access.
Is it not? I thought
I think it was at some point, but I think I don't know. None of us know the answer.
I'm checking him right now.
If I play more of it, could be a contender. I don't know. It's a really fun game.
Actually, yes, it does say early access. You're right. Okay. I just never noticed it before. Which, explains a lot. But let's talk about Phasmophobia because like I said last week, instead of doing the podcast, we got together and we hunted some ghosts in Phasmophobia, which was quite interesting. A pretty unique
spooky
horror.
It's fun.
Horror experience.
It is a rare example to me of a horror game that is actually really terrifying, but mechanically interesting at the same time and kind of addictive. Like it's a game that you want to keep playing because the experience is interesting, even though it's really scary. And I'd say most horror games for me that are really scary are at the same time are kind of like linear experience driven, like, first person walking spooks or whatever, like Amnesia and all the rest of them, right? This is like a simulation or a semi-ass, video game, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It's scary.
And I think the premise, which is, of course, you playing cooperatively with a team of fellow like ghost hunters. Think like Ghost Adventures or whatever, where you're going inside the house or a haunted place to investigate paranormal activity, and you have someone who you're communicating via radio, and you have all these tools for like trying to connect with spirits and stuff, and like having the person in the van, right, talking to you in the radio and looking at the cameras and stuff. Like it's a really
always
cool
crispy, even when someone else is already in the van. That's very interesting.
So I think that was kind of like a unique to us playing it that night. And I think the problem was none of us had really played the game much leading up to that night. Maybe the tutorial just kind of made sure we got the game running. I think this is a game where your first run, second, third, fourth, fifth are all kind of you trying to understand what the fuck's going on. I think it's once you start playing a few more rounds that you start to really understand how the game works and how the mechanics work, and understand why, yes, sometimes you do want someone in the van, but not always. And the fact that, learning how you can interact with ghosts and, understanding the kind of finer mechanics of the game, but also kind of understanding that even though you know as much as you do, that only takes you so far. Because all of the ghosts are unique, and depending on the type of ghost, which you never know going into.
I mean, that's one of the goals of each
correct,
mission, to identify the type of ghost.
Yeah, so you don't really know
demon,
how. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's demon,
demon, spirit.
There's poltergeist. There's a lot of them, and knowing what they are kind of tells you what they'll interact with. So certain ones, like, they'll leave salt footprints, but certain ones don't. So you don't always want to just go in with salt and just start spreading it around. You got to kind of try and learn certain things. And so, like the ghost book, not all of them were right in that. So it's a good idea to bring everything, but the first, 3 minutes of every single level is just first step. try and figure out where the ghost is. And you have a bunch of different tools that can help with that. We never got to the point, I think, when I think actually, no, we did get thermometers, but we didn't, I guess, really understand it at first. But kind of, finding a room that is cold, because if a room is cold, there's definitely ghost activity there. Finding using the EMF reader to find ghost activity and stuff like that. And then once you discover that, then you can kind of start figuring out, all right, now how do I narrow down what the ghost is. And so even though I played many levels with the community, I played, I don't know, probably at least 5, 6, 8 runs with some community members over the past week since we last played it. I would say every time was very unique. You're using a lot of the same materials, but depending on the type of ghost, it kind of just really changes how the run goes. And it depending on where the ghost is in the house or the building. One of the things that when we played, Brad, we didn't want to do the high school because it was big or whatever. Well, when I was playing with the community, we went to the asylum, and holy shit,
God.
if you thought the high school was big, the asylum is like 3 to 4 times larger than the high school.
What
like
the
it is
fuck?
ridiculously big.
Did you not? Because I feel like when we played the high school, it what like the first like 20 minutes of the match was literally us just like going. We split up and we each paired up into teams of 2, and we were just
cool.
going door to door. It was cool, spooky, but it took us a while before we finally found the room that
I
had
think
the
that's
ghost.
one of the things that will probably get fixed, and that's why the game is in early access. And yes, I'm sure that will probably change, either them physically making it smaller or giving you easier ways to find it, because yes, that is kind of an obnoxious thing, and that's not something that really changes, especially with those larger maps.
Well,
is yes, just trying to find where the ghost is. What's up, Brad?
I think it's because of one of the biggest flaws of this game, honestly, is that it's not really fun to move around because you move so slowly. And if you could move a little bit faster in the school or the asylum, it'd probably be more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There were times when we were playing where I was like, I'll go back out to the van and get something, and I'm like, oh my god,
you notice it the most
forever to
when
get
you're
to the van.
outside just trying to get to the van. You're like, there's no reason I would be moving this slow.
Yeah. But yeah, just the different ways you interact with the ghosts, and there are several times, especially early on, when you maybe don't have all the equipment you might need to find the ghost, or you can't maybe even do the objectives. And obviously, you want to do the objectives because that gives you more money, which lets you buy more equipment and stuff, which lets you go into these missions more prepared. And honestly, every mission we played was fun. Even if, we didn't figure out what all the requirements or whatever. It's kind of one of those things where sometimes, and I don't want to say like real life, but sometimes I guess like an episode of some like ghost show or whatever, you just don't always find everything you're looking for. And so I think that's one of the things that maybe we didn't get to quick enough when we were playing, was just recognizing when you can't get much further than you're at, and just kind of giving up on this haunt and just moving on. And
does that ever feel like it's bugged? Maybe
no. I think it's one of those situations where it's like, especially for us, they're like, find presence of the ghost using a ghost like a motion sensor. Well, we don't have a motion sensor, so we can't do it. So what's the point?
Which is a direct result of having not played enough yet to be able to afford the motion sensor.
In all honesty, the only like objective. Actually, no, that's a lie. I would say so. The most difficult one is like stopping a haunting with the crucifix, and the haunting was something that we didn't really understand too well when we first played it, because hauntings don't always happen. They are definitely dependent on the type of ghost. They'll kind of determine whether they are very aggressive, or some ghosts just aren't like very aggressive at all, and they don't really want to do a haunt. Some are super aggressive and they do multiple haunts. Actually,
also, this is a game that doesn't really tell you anything. It doesn't hold your hand. So like when it says stop a haunting or whatever, it's like, okay, what constitutes a haunt exactly? And you kind of have to feel it out for yourself.
Yeah,
cool. It's a very
there's some
emergent
information that you learn, but yeah, once you learn the signs of a haunt and what's happening, you really know, and you'll know probably it's actually going to come up soon. There's going to be a haunt in this footage where all the lights start flickering, your flashlight starts flickering, and essentially, that's telling you, hey, the ghost is actively looking for you. And to avoid it, you have to hide somewhere as long as you're not in the ghost line of sight. And the other key thing is as long as you're not making noise. And that's something we haven't talked about yet, is your mic is always hot when you're playing this game. And if you make noise, the ghost will hear you and they will come looking, and they will try to find you.
It's so cool because it's like, some ghosts are agitated by hearing their name. Like if you figure out if you know what the ghost name is, if you go in there, it's like the ghost name is Amanda. You go in the house and be like, Amanda. If you say it, if you just like literally say it out loud into your microphone, you could rile up the spirit and create a haunting or get attacked or whatever may happen. But that doesn't always happen. It's not like a guaranteed thing, which is cool.
Nope.
I feel like the one thing about the game for me is that when the ghost decides to hunt you, if the ghost catches you, you instantly die. I feel like there needs to be like kind of an interim state, like where the ghost hurts the player, instead of just being like an instant death.
I mean, that's the thing.
It's a ghost, Chris Davis. It's a spooky ghost, and it's a demon.
Yeah, it's a spooky ghost. I get that, but like, I feel like it would be creepier if you had that extra balance of, maybe you get hurt instead of dying.
No. It's creepier when you know you have one chance.
So that's the whole thing, Chris Davis, is you are constantly being hurt as you're playing this because you have a sanity meter and it's constantly going down when you're in the dark and when you're near the ghost and all of that stuff. And that is you getting hurt. And the farther down all of that goes, the more likely the ghost is to come after you.
But yeah, I understand that.
That's a mechanic of this game that I think is very important. Is in once again, I'm kind of speaking of our interaction with the game. We are not very far. We were doing beginner and now the haunt's beginning. You can see the light starting to flash, and I happened to be unfortunate, and then I was standing exactly where the ghost spawned, and it just immediately killed me.
I hope they have more death animations later.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, this is a game that I think it's an incredible concept, and I had a lot of fun playing it. But like, I can't help but feel like, man, if this game was just a little bit more polished,
and it'll get there.
Which I think it'll get there.
So one more thing I wanted to say, Nick. Once again, we were doing the easy stuff. I did one of the more difficult levels, and that's kind of one of the things I've talked about with a lot more with the community. DTH in chat was just mentioning he just hit level 111 in the game. Like when we had finished the evening, we were at level like 4 or 5. He's played a lot of it, and when you start getting that higher level, you start unlocking the ability to do more advanced haunts. And in those ones, the ghosts get super aggressive, and they are much more complex. When we were playing, when we started a level, as soon as you enter the house or whatever, a countdown starts. And you have 5 minutes or whatever to kind of explore the house and find out stuff before the ghost starts getting aggressive. When you're playing on those more advanced difficulties, on like professional, when you press the button to open the door, the ghost gets aggressive. Like as soon as you start, the ghost is trying. And so it gets one of those things where it gets more complicated. When we were playing, so I never really got a haunt, like a crucifix as an objective. If a ghost spawns kind of on top of or right near a crucifix, it will cancel out a haunt. When we were playing one of the more professional ones, we canceled 2 haunts before we even realized it. We just happened to find the room where the ghost was. We put down 2 crucifixes in the room, and then like a couple of minutes later, both of them were gone. Like that ghost was being super aggressive. And it's just kind of one of those things where like the farther you get, you just start getting those more, and kind of obviously you get more skilled. In this footage, you'll see I'm actually dead, obviously, but you can kind of still kind of interact with now you can't really interact with the world, and you can't talk with the people because your voice has been deactivated. But one of the interesting things is you can see the ghosts when the players can't see them always. If a ghost is kind of moving around the house, like you can always see them, and pretty soon here in the footage you'll see me seeing the ghost when my other fellow ghost hunters can't see them. And so that's kind of interesting mechanic. And I think pretty soon here you'll see like he spawns down that hallway, and I get to see another one of our team members dies in this. But that's because we were trying to get the photo of the ghost because that was one of the objectives.
So when you're in the lobby for the game, it consistently hints at you that you're going in there to collect evidence to find out what the ghost is, and that after you've completed the job, that's when the exorcists or the cleansers are going to come in and try to remove the ghost. Has there been like any hints at like that actually being a gameplay thing later on down the line?
I don't think
Not to my knowledge. I don't think that's the point of it. I think it's one of those things where you, for all intents and purposes, don't really want to interact with the ghosts. You're just like you said, you're just trying to gather evidence. That's all you're trying to do. Is you're trying to get information on what's going on, and then you leave, and that's it. That's your job. I think maybe maybe down the road, I'm sure that's maybe on their on their long, I wouldn't even say it's on their short list. It's probably on their long list of shit that maybe eventually they would want to do that. But I think there's still plenty of time that they need to, and work that needs to be done on this base game before they start adding.
I hope it's not that far down the list. I hope it's not that far down, because I feel like with the maps and the gameplay focus that is here, like there's eventually going to get to the point where you need that extra gameplay variety. So, like if they structured it like, let me give you an example. If they structured it like the day jobs in Payday 2, for example, like one day you're scouting the house and then the next day you're cleansing it, like I think that would be really cool.
Well, you know what, Chris Davis, how about you just develop this game for them real quick?
Okay, I'll write my
it's a cool
letter real quick.
It'd be cool.
There's a difference in between writing a letter and developing a game. That's what I'm saying.
No, he's writing a letter. Damn it!
It's lovely to
I have to prepare my resume first, Nolan.
A wish list of stuff you'd like to be in the game, but I think it would take them a lot longer to actually make that work. I think, once again, this is early access because they are trying to flesh out all of those details, and I think it's more beneficial for them to make this game more polished than it would be to add new mechanics first.
I am fascinated to see what this game looks like when it comes out of early access, because right now it does feel it's a really cool concept that is a little janky. You know what I mean? But tons of cool ideas in it built into it.
So was Among Us, but
no, you're totally right. So was Subnautica at one point. It's like so many early access.
Subnautica was always amazing.
I
stand corrected.
I would argue against you, Brad. Subnautica, while it was always amazing, the first iteration of that game, there was nothing to do in the fucking game besides
always
just
beautiful.
move around the world.
I will say, how cool would it be if this was a little more like Gone Home? Like, you know how you always know the name of the ghosts and stuff and about the ghost when you go in there? How cool would it be if you had to find the story by looking at stuff in the house and find the ghost's name and stuff about the ghost that way before the haunt starts?
Again, I think this is another situation where cool idea, but that would be a totally different game, I feel like.
Yeah.
But oh my God, your hands.
What's so
well? That's they're in VR. I think is that Green Toast. Or no, is that Green Goddamn?
I was gonna ask you what people playing in VR look like to the other players.
Yeah, so one of the interesting things about them playing, that's Green Goddamn, because he plays the game in VR. One of the interesting things about VR is when you see them do things, you see them actually do it, and that's very interesting to see them reach and grab things. And when they pull out their journal, you can see their journal in front of them holding it and stuff like that. But actually, one of the cool things about being in VR is you can actually store more equipment than when you're just playing the game. But you literally have to reach and grab it and stuff like that. And so I haven't set up my VR, but I actually would at some point like to play this game in VR.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty
think
fun.
I might give it a try next time we decide, because I know we've all said maybe we want to do another multiplayer stream session with it. So I definitely want to try it in VR.
I wish we had played it earlier in October.
Yeah,
that way we would have probably played it a couple more times.
I mean, Brian, there's nothing stopping us from playing it in November.
Yeah.
Also, we
can have a Thanksgiving in Terror Night.
That sounds like a plan.
Thanksgiving.
The jankiness that I keep referring to subtly is kind of like the way the characters move. Like when you see other play, it's all I was telling Robin about the game before we streamed it that night because she'd never heard of it, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna be spooky. I'm excited. And then she poked her head in right before we ever started, and we were standing in the lobby room or whatever, and y'all were all bent over backwards, looking up at the ceiling, spinning in circles. But three of us were on the screen doing it, and she was laughing, and I was just yeah, it looks goofy as hell.
I heard the game if you're playing the game for the first time, playing with like 2 people was really scary.
I can
Oh,
imagine.
yeah.
It's a lot more difficult because you don't have as many essentially hands for equipment. When you can carry 3 things. Generally, one is always a flashlight, and then you can have 2 other things. And generally, the game has 2 things that are very good at finding ghosts, and that's the thermometer and the EMF. But then everything else is kind of just stuff that you need to help identify the ghost. And so it's kind of one of those things where when you even have 4 people, you don't have enough hands to bring everything you would want to bring to help identify the ghost. And so, like you were saying, you always end up making trips back to the truck to get new stuff.
Yeah. This seems similar to Among Us, where once you really know how to play the game and you're playing with people who know how to play the game, it's just a very different experience.
Oh yeah, but in that regard, it's still fun though. Even though in all the matches I've played, it's different from our first few matches. It's still fucking scary when you start hearing a heartbeat and things start flashing, and like you hear like fucking a little whisper and like they'll say something.
Dude, shit's
so
scary.
fucking
Like
creepy.
they use audio design so well,
Yeah.
but also like just some of the emergent moments that happen playing cooperatively are so great. Like the part at the time, I think it was me, Crispy, and Nolan maybe. We were upstairs in that house and we all freaked out and we all hid in the same like tiny closet in the hallway. So
And
we were
all of us
all like
were scared, but then also trying not to laugh at the fact that we were all in a closet hallway hiding together,
we're all like
not wanting to make noise. Yeah.
everybody shut up, it's outside the door. Like that shit, that's so good. It's so good. But yeah, I think it's safe to say you can probably expect us to see us play this again on the stream. So keep your eye out for it. Is there anything else we want to say about this before we move on? I think
Let's get some outdoor hunts.
This is one of the. I think this might be one of the 10 coolest games of the year.
Maybe it is, Brad. Maybe it is.
Innovative.
Let's talk. Let's answer some questions. We don't have this slow news right now. I mean, we're right on the cusp of new consoles coming out next week, actually.
Yep.
Which is crazy. So everything seems kind of slow right now, news wise. I know there's been some reviews, like the Xbox Series X reviews kind of hit today. PS5. Did the PS5 reviews drop at the same time? I don't even know.
I think so. The PS5's been doing some weird embargoes, and that they've been slowly lifting certain aspects throughout the week. I think there's still one more embargo, if I remember, on like the UI and stuff like that. Like, but they've kind of lifted some. But yeah.
Yeah, so not really a ton to talk about there. We'll obviously give our impressions of hardware once we get our hands on it ourselves. Of course, we'll be talking about the games once we have our hands on those. But for now, no news. So we're gonna answer some questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. Of course, if you are interested in supporting us and asking questions on a future episode, please visit us at patreon.com/4Player. But for now, Nolan, do you have the list pulled up?
I do. Am I going with anything in particular? We get a lot today after you asked for more questions, but
yeah, I would say just surprise us, Nolan. Surprise us. Right. Whatever sounds interesting to you.
All right. Well, then give me 5 minutes to read through all of them, and then I'll be back to you with the interesting ones. Just kidding.
All right, I'll vamp.
I'll start with the first one from Mr. Green Toast from Texas. With the unexpected rise to fame status of indie games such as Fall Guys and Among Us, what do you predict will be the sudden next craze in video game popularity?
At the time this question was asked, we didn't know Phasmophobia existed, and I feel like Phasmophobia quickly became one of those kinds of games.
This is the problem with waiting on some questions, because this one was from September 15th. So yeah, it was before
but then again, we didn't know Phasmophobia existed at that time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to predict what's gonna be the next trend when it's probably something that doesn't exist yet.
Those examples are proof that you can't predict it. You can't.
And yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it's one of those things where Among Us is a perfect example, because that is not a new game. That's a 2-year-old game that has been around and available for 2 fucking years. And it wasn't until a couple of months ago that it blew up. And it's kind of one of those things where someone might put out a game today that maybe has like a little big boost in popularity, but then falls off the charts and no one cares about it. Timing is a huge deal. It's kind of one of the things that we talked about where Fall Guys was the fucking king of the hill, the best thing. And then Among Us, a 2-year-old game, gained popularity, and then people just fucking started dropping Fall Guys like crazy because this other game was a fun game I could play too real quick. And so it's one of those things where timing is a big deal. And then, yeah, obviously it has to be fun. I think the unique thing about both of these games, and you can add Phasmophobia to that list as well, is the multiplayer aspect of it. That's one of the best things about all of those is playing with other people. Fall Guys is fun because you're, the whole competing against your friends or even strangers. Among Us is good because you get to be a fucking dick and you get to lie about it. Phasmophobia is fun because it's a scary fucking game, but you can play it with your friends, which maybe makes it a little less scary, maybe makes it more. Who knows? But I think those are kind of those examples of why those 3 games took off so much.
I couldn't have predicted this, but but Robin is like obsessed with Among Us now. I can't get her off it. She has it on her phone, and it's just like what she does in between. Like,
is she a good liar?
I don't even know how it works because she doesn't talk. Like, I don't know.
What? There's a chat.
Oh, she types.
Yeah, it's a chat.
Yeah,
she must. I mean, yeah, she must be doing that. I don't know. It's weird, but she is totally obsessed with that game at this point. Would Genshin Impact qualify as?
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure. That thing blew up crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game is by far like one of the best, like one of the most popular games to come out this year in terms of if you look at sheer numbers of people playing it.
Yeah.
Genshin Impact was doing something crazy for its first month. It was like I don't remember. I don't have the numbers in front of me. It was like 200,000 or something simultaneous.
Oh yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. It's over
bananas.
like it's a huge amount now. Yeah.
But
I think I saw something the other day about like they have like an official Genshin Impact Discord, and it's over like 700,000 people in their Discord.
It's crazy. Which of course, none of these things are predictions. They're just kind of us looking back at it. It's hard to make predictions, but yeah, even since this question was asked, which was back in September, we've seen several new things come up that have become huge successes and obsessions. So, next question.
All right, let's move on to the next one, and I'm going to do another older one from Finding 404.
Okay.
Even though we are still staying inside our homes, have you guys ever thought about doing an online board game night with the crew? There are ways to play all the board games digitally with Tabletop Simulator or D&D night with online website Roll20. Keep up the great work, y'all.
Yeah, we've thrown the idea around.
Those conversations have come up multiple times, and I think all of us are down. It's just more like a timing thing. I think it's going to be a situation, and this is something I kind of brought up a while back, and I'm still on board with, is that, and we did it for a while, but I think once a month, our podcast night should not be a podcast.
Yeah.
Three out of the 4 weeks in a month, we do a podcast, and then one of them we should do something that is different. And honestly, the fact that we're all remote now and we're doing the podcast online, not in person anymore, I think honestly even makes it easier. Just go and sit at our computer and play a tabletop game. I think
we should play Pandemic again.
There you go. Perfect. Kind of on the nose. But yeah.
But yeah, we've toyed around with the idea of playing even like if you want to get into like tabletop RPGs and stuff, because I know Crispy would love to delve into one of those. Like beyond D&D, we've talked about things like Vampire the Masquerade and even Cyberpunk. I think we were talking about maybe doing the Cyberpunk tabletop RPG or something. But beyond just suggesting it, we haven't really dug into that possibility. But still, like Nolan said, since we're doing everything remotely, anything is possible. So
Deep Rock Galactic, anybody?
I'm down for another Deep Rock Galactic night.
Yeah. We've done Deep Rock Galactic, we've done Phasmophobia lately. So yeah, I'm all for replacing.
Can we do something that involves 5 people? Because I'm starting to feel real bad about Chris Davis.
Well, so no, that's I think that's a good point with doing like tabletop simulators, doing those kind of games, like playing like fucking like I don't know, like fucking Monopoly or some shit. I mean, there's plenty of games that you can play like via tabletop simulator.
And don't feel like I'm left out. Like every time we do these nights, I'm watching. I'm in chat. I'm enjoying myself watching. I like to watch.
He likes to watch. He likes to watch.
Yeah. All right.
He likes to watch.
I like to watch.
Moving on to the next question. I'm just going to do this one from Zero Skies. Let's knock out some of these older ones, and then I'll get to some new ones. So,
Sounds good.
With updates to hardware happening all around, how much do you think you could sell your current console or PC for? Take into account stuff like PT being installed.
No one wants to buy
Well,
my
for that reason, I'm not going to sell my PS4.
Yeah,
PS4.
I don't want to sell my PS4 Pro because it has PT installed on it. But how much?
How much did those go for? Like on eBay?
They've confirmed you won't be able to transfer your PT to your PS5.
But you also can't transfer it to an account. So if you sold your PlayStation 4 with PT on it, you'd have to essentially make
you'd have to sell your
account.
Yeah. As far as my PC goes, I'm not a very good judge of PC value. I think that's definitely more of a Nolan and Chris Davis.
This person
I can tell you what I spent on it.
Their PS4, it's in very good condition with PT installed on it on eBay for $500.
I see one for 400. I see one for like 270. Like it's.
So we're having our projector screen installed, or a projector installed soon. And I was thinking about moving because I was like, I figured out like what we're gonna put up there for like a DVD player. I was like, maybe I'll just, when I get my PS5, I'll move my PS4 up there and make that our DVD player. But then that means I can play PT on the fucking projector. Maybe that's a bad idea.
Come on, look, PT, one of the most overrated games of the generation. If it's even a game, it's scary, and that's it. What do you even do in that game? Run down the same hallway over and over again looking for little pieces of paper and shit? I mean, come on.
Yes.
All right, Professor Killjoy.
It's very obtuse.
We haven't even answered the question yet. How much is my PC worth, damn it? Somebody tell me.
Your PC, Nick, I would say like maybe 1,300. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little less.
It's got a 1070.
1070.
It's got a AverMedia capture card in it, baby. It's ready to go.
I wouldn't say that high. Because if you think about the processor he has, think about the RAM he has, like his system. He
doesn't have a whole lot of RAM.
I bet he could probably get a good 700 for it.
Yeah, probably
600 max.
I think it's one of those situations where if he had all the time in the world, he could probably get a little bit more. But if it's something you're trying to sell like tomorrow, then yeah.
This number is falling faster than Donald Trump's.
It's depreciation of value.
No one wants to buy dated tech.
Yeah.
But some
people might take a hand-me-down graphics card, but no one wants.
When they want to buy it, like, oh, I want a new computer for my kid or some shit like that.
Somebody just doesn't want to go through the hassle of actually building and putting the pieces together themselves. Having it all pre-built is appealing. I know that because
it's still
that would be appealing.
The value drops so quickly, you have no idea.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, you think someone's going to spend more money for your PC than they would a shiny new PS5? Probably not.
I mean, you can get a pre-built system with better components than what you have right now for cheaper than you could probably.
Also, what do you think? I mean, the consoles are a little more interesting because I don't know. Is anybody going to be trading their shit into GameStop?
Let's move on. Next question this week from Negative Cosine. When you're eating a meal, do you drink your drink throughout the meal or only after you finish the food?
What kind of question is that?
So I have one example in my life where I always drink the drink after the meal, 100%. I may have told this story before.
Meal?
I think you have. Yes. Is it like a sandwich?
No. Growing up, this is really weird. Growing up, I would have Eggo waffles for breakfast every single morning, and I know it's terrible. Yes, so I would eat Eggo waffles with syrup every morning, and I would have a nice tall glass of milk, and I would not touch the milk until I finished the last bite of waffles, and then I would chug the milk in one fell swoop. And Nick, still do that occasionally to this day.
I say this only because I have a toddler now, but like they probably tried to get you to eat anything besides Eggo waffles, huh? But you were like, no, I want Eggo waffle.
No, I had oatmeal every once in a while too.
Oatmeal waffles?
No. But I still do the waffle thing every once in a while.
I mean, I usually don't do Eggos. I generally make waffles.
But that's for a very specific reason. Like you chug the milk because it's so satisfying after having all the syrup and stuff.
Is it though?
Yeah, I mean, for me it is. But
What
like,
kind of syrup are you using?
I mean, no, I mean I have a brand of syrup that I really like. It's not like
a what is that? Jack something?
No, it's log. No, it's like log. I think it's log cabin.
Oh, so
it's
generic.
it's like high fructose corn syrup. You don't.
Yeah,
You don't
is it syrup or is it actual like maple syrup?
Fuck that.
If someone brought over Aunt Jemima, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
No, I would be like, "Please give me my log cabin," because I like that syrup more than any syrup ever.
I don't know. Actual maple syrup's a little too runny for my taste.
I mean,
I like
yes and no. Generally, especially like growing up, yeah, we didn't always have. We never had actual maple syrup, but we always heated up our other syrup, so it became
really.
Yeah.
Oh, I never heated it up.
You just put cold syrup on top of a hot waffle, and now you have a
I always do that. Yeah.
No, man, you warm up the syrup in the microwave, and then you pour it on. You put butter. You put a little bit of butter spread on top of the Eggo waffle, and then pour some hot syrup on top of it. So good.
No, I've always used room temperature syrup.
Ah, you're a fucking monster.
If the waffle's piping hot, it'll be fine.
Like
I really want. I really
toaster.
Really, I really want waffles right now. Shit.
Nick, do you buy Eggos or do you make your own waffles?
I buy Eggos. No, I have a thing for Eggos. Like I like homemade waffles, but like the Eggos thing is special to me.
When I eat Eggos,
like processed.
I don't put them on a plate and use syrup and butter. I take them out of the toaster, and run out the door, and eat them in my car on the way to work.
That's awful. That's
do you get the Eggos with like blueberries and shit in them, or
no? Just regular home style or buttermilk.
Have you ever done anything like put peanut butter on them or anything like that?
No, but Robin has. I'm just like I latched on to like that like ritual when I was younger of I even cut them in a very specific way when I'm eating them, like in a. I know.
Nick, if you're getting like the cheapo Eggo waffles, you got to do interesting shit with them, like make a PB&J sandwich, but using Eggo waffles instead of bread.
His favorite
shit like that.
Waffles,
huh?
Henry's favorite food is peanut butter waffles.
There you go.
Sorry, this got ingrained in me at such a young age that it's just so special to me now that I will probably never eat Eggo waffles differently.
All right.
Just the way.
If you say so, let's move on. Next question.
But the real answer to that question is who saves the drink until after the food?
No
one.
No.
All right, there we go. Good. I'm just clearing that up.
All right, moving on. Next question from the Drunken Merchant. Recently, I've been working on a top 100 favorite games of all time list, and I've been running into an issue. What words do you all capitalize, specifically in a title of something? The most common words would be of, a, and, the, and, etc. Example, think of games like The Last of Us. Do you have any rules for the word of? What about Shadows of the Damned?
I don't capitalize.
Podcast of all time for 10 years now. You guys are the best. What's up?
Oh, thank you. I don't capitalize words like of and the. I mean, unless it's the first word in the title.
If they're like interim words between proper nouns, then you don't need to capitalize.
Of, a, and, the, unless it's the first word in the title.
Like The Last of Us, you capitalize the because it's the first word in the name, but the of you don't capitalize.
I like capitalizing every other letter in every word.
No.
Like blood would be capital B. Well, maybe with blood, I would actually capitalize the L and the two O's would be lowercase.
Also, just Google the title and see how the publisher and developer name it, and just copy that.
But almost for sure, I think it's going to be kind of what we described almost every time, unless it's stylized for some reason.
Yeah.
Interesting question. I didn't expect that to come out of. It started with something about a top 100 list of all time, and then it like veered to grammatical question.
Could you draw a lowercase cursive Q on the spot or a Z?
Yes.
Yes.
or a G. I can't do cursive anymore at all.
Okay.
I would have to think about it.
G's pretty easy. G's pretty easy.
Q is actually pretty easy
A
too.
Z? What the fuck is a Z?
It's the
No. The capital Z. That's the one that's fucked.
Do it again, Nolan.
I don't think that
show
was it.
Show it. Do it again, Nolan.
Put your finger up there. I want to see the whole.
Well, obviously, is it backwards? And you do that. You do like the
Capital Q?
This is gold for people listening to the audio.
or is the capital Z like the big kind of looks like I don't know, whatever.
Cursive is so stupid.
All right, let's do next question. From Shakusky. Are there any games in the PlayStation Plus collection for the PlayStation 5 that you plan to check out for the first time? I, for one, am finally going to experience the hidden gem known as Days Gone, and that is probably also my answer.
It's the only game. Everyone else has played every single other fucking game on that list.
Yeah.
Because
Ding,
they're
ding,
all like highly rated games. The only one that's kind of mediocrely rated is Days Gone, and it's probably the one that a lot of people missed. So I think you're gonna have a lot of people.
Well, also the other day they announced that the upgrades it's going to get for the PS5 are up to 60 frames and full 4K.
I have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Guardian I thought ran kind of like crap on my PlayStation 4.
I think that was more so because it was a bad game, but yeah.
How dare you?
No, Last Guardian's great.
I heard the PS5 is going to fix all of Kingdom Hearts 3's problems.
You know
Nolan.
what? You played The Last Guardian before you had your Huskies. Maybe you'd play it again with a new perspective.
I've definitely had pets throughout my life before I had
but
my Huskies.
But we all know Trico is a great big husky.
No.
Is he? No.
But yeah, I'm gonna be playing Days Gone again. Well, I'm just gonna keep playing my New Game Plus that I started a while back.
Really? That's the one?
All right, let's move on. Next question. We got more questions. Come on. Bring the Ruckus in chat, also known as Chris from LA, asks, what is the very first game you guys will be playing on your next gen console?
Last Guardian.
Talking about Bug Snacks.
For me, it's gonna be
Bug
for me. I'm probably gonna prioritize it. I'm gonna go Spider-Man, Miles Morales first because it's probably the shortest of the 3 launch or 4 launch titles that I'm gonna have around launch. Why are you shaking your head at me, Brad? What does that mean?
For shame. No, I'll talk about mine and my 4-player minute.
But here's the thing. I'm also picking up Assassin's Creed Valhalla on PS5. Yeah, I'm probably gonna spend a lot of time with that. Pretty close to
game of 2020.
That wasn't Nick. That was not the question. You were supposed to say a single game, and you listed like 3.
No, Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Okay, well
that is my number one priority. As soon as the first thing I put in that system and play it, Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
None of y'all are doing Demon Souls?
Demon Souls is probably going to be Demon Souls is like
y'all are very bad at answering this question.
Well, sorry. My answer is Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
All right, Brad, what's your answer?
I told you I'm not going to answer yet.
He's going to save it for his 4-player minute.
Okay, Chris Davis, what's your answer?
I'm thinking Spider-Man as well, but I also might pick up Demon Souls and play that instead.
What's the first game
you get 0 points for this question, Chris Davis.
No.
I don't know yet.
Right, next question.
Oh, wait, hold on. He's got to answer the other part of the question because Chris Davis is getting 2 consoles. What's the first new game you're playing for your Xbox?
I honestly don't know. Nobody
does.
Was going to be Watch Dogs. It was going to be Watch Dogs right up until I found out about that multiplayer is not patched in.
First new game.
First new game would have been Watch Dogs.
Okay. No.
But that's not a next gen game. That's a current gen game.
I mean, it's a transition title. Like dedicated Xbox, there are none.
That's all I wanted to say. It's okay. Next question.
I knew where you were going. I was
over here like Chris Davis. It's a trap. Don't answer it.
All right, so that kind of leads into Chris Thacker's question, which will be our final question this evening. What is the first game you're wanting to boot up or try on the new console of your choosing, whether it's a new game entirely or an older game to see the potential improvements? So I mean, we kind of answered that.
Yeah. As far as wanting to see the improvements, I do want to see the improvements of Days Gone. But you know,
yeah.
I don't
know if there's any other games I want to see the improvements on necessarily. It might be.
You know, I would kind of be curious. I know it's kind of like weird. I would like to see how Red Dead Redemption 2 runs on it, even though I'm already playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC, which is how I'm going to continue to play it. Just out of curiosity, I might pop that in as like just to see if it loads faster or, you know, has a higher frame rate. I mean, I don't know if they said anything
Foundry
about
actually
that game.
did video about that.
Improvement.
I didn't even think about that. I wonder if that frame rate's uncapped. Monster Hunter World's a good one. Also, I plan to go back to Neo 2 on my PS5. A lot of PS4 games I stopped playing just because I hate my PS4 so much because it's so loud and it spits out discs and it sucks and fuck my PS4.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be going back to some
Neo 2 is a good one. I might try because I haven't even started that yet. Also, I do plan on trying to squeeze in another playthrough of The Last of Us 2 before the end of the year.
Really? You know, like Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed.
I know. That's why I said I might want to squeeze it in.
It's not a short game.
I know.
Squeeze in The Last of Us 2.
Shut up. I don't need your sass. I'll figure it out.
Yakuza, baby. I know y'all aren't big Yakuza guys, at least not like me, I guess, but I'm super excited about 7 or Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, that's all the questions this week. Thanks to everybody who asked. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
If we didn't get to your question and you did ask it, we will eventually get to it. It is on our list.
Absolutely. And you can, and
some of them we like
reminder,
like 6 months, so they become really out of date by the time we ask them.
But a quick reminder, you can ask. You don't really have to wait for us to update the Patreon post every week or anything. If you think if a question pops into your head in the middle of the week and you want to make sure you get it in, you can leave that question anytime. Just go to the supporters channel in our Discord at discord.gg/4player. So if you're a Patreon subscriber or a Twitch subscriber, you should have access to that channel. There's a pinned link at the top of that channel that'll connect you to the forum. Just fill out the form and we'll add it to our list. So yeah, but now it is time. It is time to wrap up this episode, of course, with the 4-player minute. And as Brad goes first, and you can finally answer that question you dodged.
Are we doing a timer, or are we just whatever? I'll start while he figures that out. My hype is the one I didn't want to answer first. The first thing I'll be trying is Astro's Playroom. It's like the first PlayStation 5 game people have been talking about, and they've been going not only about Astro's Playroom and the awesome PlayStation nostalgia, but the controller has been getting really good buzz. Apparently, it feels really cool to play that game, so that'll be the first thing I'm trying. My sweat is I'm a little worried about PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility being like, I'm worried about actually getting rid of my PlayStation 4 because I've heard some hints about, hey, we can't talk about it yet, but there's some things to say about the PS5. I don't know if it's negative or if it's positive, but I'm a little worried, especially, you know, I signed up for the adapter for the PSVR, but how quick is Sony going to be getting those things out? Is that even like a thing in the near future? Who knows, really? So I might actually just keep my PS4 around as just a PSVR machine, maybe. I don't know. My thank you goes to, I watched the second part of that Shinji Mikami documentary. I think it's like a week old, but I just popped into my recommendations now. And he was talking about God Hand, which is interesting, right? Because it's the first thing he did after Resident Evil 4. And he was like, totally like, dude, I just did Resident Evil 4, which was a huge critical and financial success or whatever. Like, I could basically do anything I want. So I did this game just for me. I didn't care. No one.
Wait, but which game was he referring to?
God Hand, which is what he did. He directed after Resident Evil 4. He's like, I just made this for me. I wanted to make this game. I didn't care about if it's sold. I didn't care about anybody enjoyed playing it. I just made a game that I enjoyed playing. And there was one programmer who was working on the game, and I kind of made it so he liked it a little bit too. But other than that, I didn't give a fuck. And I was like, thanks, man, because without Mikami doing that, we wouldn't have gotten such an awesome game like God Hand. And I'm glad he said he felt kind of like a criminal, like taking Capcom's money to make a game he knew wouldn't sell, but he's like, fuck it. I just did Resident Evil 4. So thanks, Mikami. And my fuck you for this week goes to Genshin Impact, of course. I got my second 5-star character in. The first one I got was Klee, and everyone was like, "Oh, you got Klee," and I was like, "It's a stupid little girl who runs like an airplane, and I want these hot bitches, right?" And she wasn't that. I got my second 5-star character, and it's Kiki. Is it Kiki? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I would say Kiki.
Another little girl who runs like an airplane, and everyone's like, "Oh, she's so fucking good, dog." I don't care. I want hot ladies, cool ladies with cool weapons, and I have these little girls, like these fucking children, and I can't not use them because they're good, because they're 5-star characters. Can I get a Mona? I will trade both of my children, both of my daughters for Mona. Please, anybody. But I don't think you can trade this game. I want Mona. Mona. Anyways,
time to gamble.
He's moaning about Mona.
All right, thank you, Brad. Nolan?
Yeah, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is obviously for the PlayStation 5. I finally got confirmation that I am supposedly supposed to be getting it on the 12th by 5 p.m. So pretty excited about that. Like Brad had mentioned, Astro's Playroom, Bug Snacks, definitely excited to play those and check it out. I don't think it would fit on my like entertainment center right now with its size, so I might have to like put it on top. We'll see what happens when it gets here. Well, yeah, it's not gonna fit like sideways. It's too tall and too like fat for any of like the places, I think. So we'll see what happens when it gets here. My sweat goes to so many games. I've been playing a little more Phasmophobia with community. Last night I actually ended up playing some Among Us with the community. Yesterday or the day before, I was playing some Spelunky 2. I still have more Hades to play. Now we're about to get a bunch of more games that come out. When Brad, you had mentioned PlayStation VR, the Iron Man game is still on my to-do. So there's so many games, and it's just getting closer and closer to the end of the year, and more crap's coming out. My thank you goes to all the community who's been playing like Phasmophobia with me and Among Us, and just kind of getting able to interact with them. My fuck you is going to go to DTH for being a dickhole when the ghost was haunting me in the asylum, and I was trying to get a photo of it. But then it started haunting me, and so I had to hide in a corner, but that corner was visible to the door, which is locked, so you can't leave the building. And he just kind of walks up and shines his flashlight in my face and starts laughing at me as the ghost is trying to haunt me and being a little dickhole. So,
DTH?
Yeah.
It sounds like something DTH would do, I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah. And also, fuck you to a certain orange person.
Are you still playing Among Us?
I played some last night.
Oh. You're probably like one of those people, though. You didn't do your key. You didn't do your key. Vote him out. Vote him out.
No, I am nowhere near that good at the game.
All right, Chris Davis, you're up.
Okay, my first hype is for the obvious thing, the next gen consoles. Well, I'm not going to have any next gen exclusives to play on my fucking Series X next week. But I mean, it's time. It's the ninth gen is upon us, gentlemen. It is. It's about fucking time.
Robin requested that I mention this tonight, and I wasn't sure where I was going to squeeze it in.
Sure.
But N7 Day is coming up. Maybe they're going to announce.
That was my second hype. That was my second hype because N7 Day is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been confirmed that Mark Meer and Jennifer Hale are going to be present at that event thing that they're planning on doing. And they're finally going to fucking announce that Mass Effect remaster, and that may be like the most hype thing of next year.
I have a question. I have a bone to pick. What is up with people getting hyped about remasters for games that are on PC anyways? I mean, who gives a shit? Mass Effect's great, but we've played it. It's on PC. It plays great.
First of all, Robin doesn't have a PC, so she's
Robin.
excited. She's excited for it because she
Well,
wants
you
it on her
have a PC?
Xbox. She doesn't come in here and play on my PC. I mean,
Yeah,
she
Brad.
can.
Not everybody
She
wants a
can.
PC, Brad.
She
Sure.
can if she wants, but
these are probably going to be like, they're not going to be like remakes, right?
I mean, the question now is like, why have they waited so long to announce this? Maybe it's more substantial than just a flat remaster.
It might
Like,
be
maybe they're
something.
Well, it'd be nice if it was a new game, right? Instead of a remaster of a game
well,
on
yeah,
PC.
but hey,
I mean,
we'll see.
sure.
See.
There probably is a Mass Effect 5 being worked on.
Garrus stories of the Citadel.
I don't know about that, but who knows? My first sweat is actually for Cyberpunk 2077.
I see.
They delayed that game into December, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. My problem is that the next gen enhancements are not going to be there at launch. They're supposed to launch sometime next year. And because the fact that this game has been delayed so much because of COVID, it makes me worry that I would have to wait to like March, April, or even May to see what these enhancements are. So I'm wondering whether I even want to play this year, or if I wanted to wait until then.
Here's the deal, dude. Don't think of Cyberpunk as a PS5 or an Xbox Series X game. It's a current gen. It's a current gen. It is essentially the last major release of PS4, Xbox One.
I would say think of it as a PC game of which you have a.
I don't. My PC, I have a 1080, but I don't have.
Honestly, for everyone in this podcast right now, next gen consoles are going to be more powerful than our PCs.
Yes.
No, I know, but
Cyberpunk's not necessarily going to take advantage of that yet.
On a PS5,
It's gonna run better on the PS5 than it will on my PC.
I would feel better if they would actually outline what those enhancements are, because they haven't said. They just say it's next gen enhancements. That doesn't tell me anything.
Well, don't worry about it. I mean, like, here's the thing. Don't worry about it. It's not a next gen game. It is a current gen game. It's like if I said I wasn't going to play Days Gone until they did the updates, but it doesn't matter. Days Gone is not a PS5 game. It's a PS4 game that's getting some improvements later. Like, it's perfectly playable.
Yeah.
On this generation, you're going to have a PS5.
Yeah.
You're going to have a PS5. It'll run better on that PS5 than it would on a PS4. So who cares?
Sure, but if the difference is like 4K 60, that's a whole other thing.
You're gonna never mind. You're gonna hold out on that just because it may.
I didn't play Days Gone,
later.
but now I'm gonna play Days Gone because it is gonna be 4K near 60.
Not the same as Days Gone. To you,
I just said Days Gone because that's the game I'm always thinking about all the time. So.
But I said Days Gone because that's an actual practical example, because I didn't want to play it because it was coming out the year before the next gen consoles were coming out. I would rather see the enhancements and play it then than play it at launch.
You held out on Days Gone because of PS5 enhancements?
Yes.
I call bullshit.
Yes, I swear to God.
Why you didn't play Days Gone at launch?
Oh God! Sorry, 4-player minutes. Continue.
Days Gone is just a strange example.
And my other sweat goes to Walmart because they haven't started sending out the shipment notices, and I'm like, I want my PS5. I want that.
You're shipping it. It's just preparing order, which I think is what it says.
It's been saying preparing order for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
Target, if it makes you feel any better, Target hasn't done anything. Mine still says estimated arrival Friday, November 13th through the Wednesday, November 18th.
Am I going to be the first one with the PS5?
Probably.
They have announced that they are not selling them in stores.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
also a little weird, but I appreciate the COVID aspect of that.
I will say this: I'm taking 3 4-day weekends in a row. So one way or the other, I will have a long weekend with my PS5. It just may not be next weekend.
Yeah.
Left.
Is that the end of your 4-player minute, or do
Yes.
you have one more to go?
Go.
Okay. All right. My 4-player minute starts now. Like y'all, my hype, PS5. I'll talk more about the games, I suppose. I think the PS5's lineup is really is really strong. I'm really, really excited for Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm excited for Demon's Souls, but I'm also picking up Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I don't know if y'all watched. I mentioned this last time, I think, but there's that video that the final like trailer or kind of deep dive into Assassin's Creed Valhalla before the launch. If you watch that, like it struck all the right chords with me. I was like, this looks exciting. I'm pretty hyped for it. My sweat is finally playing Visage, which I meant to do last weekend, but I was stressed out. It didn't work out. So I'm going to try and play this weekend, but my sweat it's going to stress me out because that game looks fucking horrifying. And I remember our time with it during that Halloween event. I was terrified then, even having everybody in the room with me. I was terrified. So I don't know how long I'll be able to play this game at any given time. So we'll just kind of see how it goes, but I'm going to try and stream it either Saturday or Sunday this weekend. My second hype goes for not necessarily potential President Biden, but just not having Donald Trump in the office and not having to hear his
2020.
Wait, what? Say again?
Saying, no, never mind.
I'm just saying it's looking pretty good at this point.
It's 2020, man. You can't be.
I know. This is just hope. This is just hope. It's all it is. It's not like I know this is not a surefire thing yet, but it's looking pretty good.
And I'm just for you, Nick. 1709.
Yeah. Pretty. So, I can't wait to just never. I can't wait to be bored listening to a president talk again.
I think I saw a tweet the other day that was like, I can't wait until I hate the president a normal amount.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it's sad that that's what it's come to, but like, man, he did a dull ass presentation the other day, where he just made some remarks, and he didn't say a single goddamn controversial statement anywhere. But it was just painfully dull, and I was like, this feels nice. It was like slipping into a warm bath. It was wonderful. So I can't wait for that to be a new reality. And my fuck you goes to me for stress importing Final Fantasy 7 through 9 on the Switch. I was so stressed out the other day. I literally saw Play Asia tweeted about, hey, we're taking pre-orders on Final Fantasy 9 on Switch. And you can also do 7 and 8, the little double pack or whatever, and it's all in English. And I was like, I was sitting here like on constant just election obsession, and I was just like, everything's burning, everything's on fire. I hate this. I'm gonna buy this. And I just fucking bought it. Huh?
Are you saying the media's got you spending money?
Yeah, kind of. But hey, I do want all three of those games on the only physical copy of those games I have is my PS1 discs from back in the day, and I don't even think some of those discs are in great condition. So having them on a Switch cartridge sounds great. I loved playing 9 on the Switch, so being able to go back and play 7 and 8 would be wonderful, and I just like to have them physically. So I did that. I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna do anything I can to make myself think about something else right now. So I did it. But I'm also excited to play those again. But anyways, that is our show tonight, guys. Thank you so much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is, of course, the website where you can find all of our podcast episodes. Again, keep your eyes peeled for our new Cyberpunk 2077 video, Getting in the Mood for Cyberpunk. We're each going to make a recommendation for a game you could play to kind of get yourself hype. It's something that's kind of like similar to Cyberpunk that can kind of get you in the mood for that release in December.
-1.
Wait, say again?
Never mind.
Sorry, you kind of cut out in my headphones. But anyways, that video will probably be out this weekend, so keep your eyes peeled for it. And of course, Discord. If you're not in our Discord yet, we'd love to have you. Discord.gg/4player. Check it out. We're always in there talking about video games. It's pretty fun. It's a good place to be. But until next time, be safe out there. Have a good night. And we'll see you on the next episode. Peace out.
Bye.